Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the first ever Me Jules OK video on my new channel. I've been inspired by your videos, your collections, your game rooms, your tours, and I've wanted to do my own. So here we go today. Everything is on today for the first time ever. So I've never had everything on the way it is today. So it's sort of a bit of a treat for me as well. So I hope you guys like it as well. And yeah, we're gonna get to it, go through the house. I've got a few different rooms set up, so more different types of things. I don't collect anything specifically, and any given day I could change my mind and go for something different. So you'll see that as we walk around the place. So anyway, thanks for joining us. Hope you like what you see, and yeah, let's go. I'm going to start in this room here. This is the first room that I got started on with my gaming. I've always been a PC gamer, so PC gaming is a big part of my collection. I've got a few PCs set up here, as you can see. Also a big comic collector, ever since I was 15 years old, so I've been collecting on and off. I generally go from one thing to another, as you can sort of see by the things I collect in this room here. We've got comics down below there, my Amiga's under there, and I've got some books ready to go to CGC soon. This is the next piece of art that I'm going to get framed. I got given this by a guy in Italy, so I'm happy with that. And my comic press is here. And in this corner we've got my Snoopy tabletop, Nintendo, and the Popeye panorama underneath the lamp there, so you can play it. Got an art book here, Fairy Tales, Sally Forth, Wally Wood, fantastic artist. And here's my iPad too. I've got a load of games on that. I used to collect games. Every time I get paid, I go onto the App Store and buy a lot of games. So it's loaded. It's great. It's got Secret of Monkey Island on it today. And here I've got a few of my graded grey downs and page books, Australian horror, from the mid 70s to the early 80s. Really hard to get in decent grade. Some of these I thought were higher grade than they are, but anyway, they present well. Beautiful art, beautiful covers. There's a Vampirella #1, one of my favourite books in my collection. Frank Frazetta, first appearance of Vampirella. It's a beautiful book. And I finished this yesterday. This is the Dagobah Lego set there, so I'm going to find a display for that. And we start over at my countercade. I love the countercade. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really good. I wanted to get the NBA Jam one. I missed out on it off Amazon. I was a bit devastated because, the good thing with Amazon, you don't pay freight most of the time. So anyway, I'll get it one day, hopefully. This is one of my PCs, one of my older ones. This runs Windows XP, so for all my XP games. It's got Lords of EverQuest on it today, which I picked up the other day for $2. So for me, I was really happy. And this is my Windows 98 machine. I picked this up earlier in the year. I had a lot of DOS games that just wouldn't run on my XP machine, so I got this off eBay pretty cheap. I had to drive to go get it, but so happy. It's great. So I was running Quake at the moment. The machine had a lot of games already on it, like Quake, Descent, Heretic, Mortal Kombat. There's probably even a few more on there that I haven't even looked at yet. And in this corner, there's just a few comic books. I just sort of swapped this out for the art. You can see the White Queen, Joe Jasco there, Sam Keith, My Inner Bimbo, and from the Italian guy I spoke about that gave me the print here, I also got this Defenders 4 Italian edition off him. And there's a few action figures on the wall of my little Transformer set up here. Shockwave, the reaction figures, they're beauties. I love the reaction figures. I definitely want to get some more of those. The Transformers Tiger Electronics reissue, and this was also a reissue I got off Amazon. It was pretty expensive, but it just brought me back to the original days of this, that's Frenzy and your Laserbeak. Yeah, awesome. And there's a couple of prints down here. They're cover recreations. And there's my Amiga monitor behind there that doesn't work at the moment. I blew it up. There's a couple of my other two PCs here. They're very similar cases, the Vipers. This is my main PC running Windows 10. So this is just what I do on my, eBay and whatever stuff on that. And then next to it, I've got my old Windows 7 machine that I played games on this forever, and it's still running. It's going great. I have Steam set up on this, and also my MAME collections on that. Been collecting MAME games for like 20 years, so I have an extensive library of those, and I love sitting there with my arcade stick there playing whatever I feel like. And also when I look through comics, I can see old video games. I sort of go on there and search and see what I can find. Here I've got my Dragon's Lair Replicade. It's just a really nice version to play Dragon's Lair on with the board. Nice, good, high quality graphics. It's just, I love it, the light marquee. It's a bit smaller than I would have liked, but anyway, I love it. And in the corner here, I've got one of my rarer collectible CGCs from the Promise collection. They're incredibly hard to get now and they're expensive, so I was hoping to pick up a few more, but always just get outpriced. But anyway, I've got one, so that's better than nothing. And over here I've got my Numbskull Quarter Arcade little bit here. I started off with Pac-Man, and I thought that would be it. I was like, yeah, I'll get Pac-Man, but then I got Galaxian. I just love Galaxian. And then I got Polybius once I sort of looked into the lore of the Polybius sort of story, and it was amazing. So I got that. It also acts as a 10-port charger for these other machines too, so that's great. It runs weird demo non-stop. I loved it. I can just sit there and get mesmerised for it, which is, you know, quite sort of ironic considering, you know, that was pretty much what it was rumoured to be about anyway. And on the other far side here, I've got Bubble Bobble, which is one of my most recent pickups. I just always loved Bubble Bobble, you know, Rainbow Islands, Bubble Bobble. Me and my brother used to play this all the time, and yeah, it's really nice to have that. Here I've got my Glamour International magazines. I only just sort of got into these, and it's just the art in them is amazing. And they're expensive, so it's hard to pick up, especially in Australia. I missed this over here. There's a couple of old iPhones I've got off my parents. So there's a 4 or 5 and one of the first generation iPhones there as well. And as we sort of come around to this corner here, this is where these are some of the games I've got in recently. So I want to do a pickup video. So that's one of the things I aim to do now that we've got this first video underway and filming. In this corner, I've got a lot of my PC games, my collector's editions of the World of Warcraft, and a few other ones here. I love to collect the Warhammer games. You can sort of see Warhammer Online, Mark of Chaos. There's a couple in there too, Dark Omen and Chaos Gate. And then the original Warcraft is in there as well. Although I don't have the game, I've still got the manual and the inserts are in that. So that's great. And there's more PC games behind those PS4 and PS3 games there as well. Played EverQuest for like 5 years. It would have to be one of the best experiences in my life. You know, playing EverQuest, it was such a different sort of, with the MMOG, massively multiplayer online games. It was crazy interaction, teams, and just exploring, leveling up, losing your bodies. It was just great. Yeah, memorable time. I still have a lot of all my old screenshots for that. And then after that, I basically left EverQuest and started up World of Warcraft. I played that for like 13 years. So yeah, really good. I was just pretty much solo most of the time. I had my own guild, just did my own sort of things, had all the all the characters and the classes and the races and stuff. So yeah, up there's a Cadaver. That's an Amiga game in Badlands. Cadaver's, everything's in that thing in the box. So it's one game I really want to finish one day. That's my aim. It's a shame my Amiga's not working at the moment. There's my Dragon's Lair box from the Replicade. Leisure Suit Larry, another great franchise which I got into when I was very young. Very fun playing Leisure Suit Larry 3. And then some of my art books here. So I love to collect art from different artists. As you can see, the Masters of Spanish comic book art, Bruce Timm, Linsner. Then there's some other ones there, Spear, and even down the bottom, Dave Stevens. I absolutely love Dave Stevens. There's my EverQuest book on the history of that and World of Warcraft. And I just did miss this one over here. There's a couple more books over here as well. The Art of Pulp Horror basically goes through the stories of pulp horror from really back in like the 1800s with the penny dreadfuls and the dimes. And then a bit of the history on the Weird Tales run. This is a UK book from like the late 70s, so it's pretty much in monochrome black and white through the whole lot, but anyway, it does give you a bit of a history there. Okay, and that's this room, and when you can see a lot of the art I've got up here. We can go into the art another day. I don't really want to bore you with the story of each individual piece of art, but there's some work there by Campbell, Delotto, Art Germ. We've got Granov, the amazing Horus and the Emperor in their final battle. With the death of the Primarch of the Blood Angels. I don't want to pronounce his name, because I'll butcher it. yeah, for me, it's one of the most iconic images of the whole Warhammer universe, and that's what made me love 40k. Some more Linsner stuff up here. These were cut out of a calendar, and I've had these framed. They look really good with the color coordinated sort of matte around them. And we've got some Star Wars ones up here. Mandalorian on Versio from Battlefront 2. A Stormtrooper one I got off Wish. It looks really good in that frame. The original pictures that I got when the Phantom Menace came out, got them from like Kmart or something. And then there is the first one I ever got done, which was Leia. They're a bit sort of weirdly placed on the wall because there's already hooks there, and I didn't want to pull them out because it might have damaged the jute block. So I want to get this room repainted, redone one day, and until then we'll just sort of, you know, let it do what it is. All right, so that's that room. So I hope you like it. And actually up here before we go, we've got another piece of comic game art there. It's Keith Parkinson's. That's the original EverQuest box art up there. I've got that off his website. Yeah, beautiful, isn't it? You know what I mean? Love it. All right, we're going to head out here now, where I've got a couple of display cabinets set up. The first one here, we've got some of my old Warhammer figures back when I was in high school. Used to love painting. It takes so much time. Oh man, especially being a bit OCD about stuff. A lot of them aren't finished. You know, I've always just sort of jumped onto the next one, but some really nice ones. A lot of Chaos. I used to love Chaos, and obviously Blood Angels and Ultramarines. The Nurgle in particular. Some nice beastmen. I used to love the Eldar. You can see the striking Scorpions and the Howling Banshees there as well. But yeah, really good. Just loved it. Below that, we've got the first of our Nintendo Game & Watch display areas. Yeah, nice little mixture there. The Donkey Kong Jr. on the right, third from the bottom of your screen, was the one I had when I was young. So it's about 10 years old, so like 38 years old, that one. It's speed up, it still works, and yeah, still there, sitting there. And some of my brother's old games are in there too. That Donkey Kong 2 is his. I think it was stolen by a dude at school, and he inscribed his initials on it to say it was his, but anyway, we got it back, and there it is there. Some of them I got a lot of screen bleeds, so they're not playable, but I'm still slowly trying to replace them as well. And behind that is the Blip one. That's the first Donkey Kong and Mario in comics. This one I got graded and it come back a 9.6, and it's a newsstand edition. So that's from 1983, and off the newsstand it come back a 9.6. So that's a really high grade for that book. So I love it. I've got another Blip under the stairs, a 9.2 newsstand as well. Then below that is my Deadpool display. I sort of swap this out here and there with different cards and different books. At the moment, Deadpool's got that area there with a few trading cards back from the 90s. I love trading cards. And the first appearance of Deadpool in New Mutants 98, 9.6. So obviously now with Deadpool 3 coming out, it's going to really skyrocket in price. But I love it. It's just like I said, it just screams nostalgia to me. Old Liefeld, and yeah, back in the glory days, back in the 90s. Below that, I've got some of my Warcraft figures here. At the front, you can see the 10-year anniversary statue. I've got the box upstairs. We'll have a look at that later. And you can see the Warlock and the Mage at the back. They basically mirror images of the characters I played on Warcraft 2. So yeah, for the Horde. Right, so that's that. And I've got another display cabinet over here. But first, we'll look at this. Is my other setup here. This is our main TV room where we just watch TV. I've got a PS3 and a PS4 set up there. Today we've got some Dead or Alive on, play a bit of that this afternoon. And I've got my VR2 set up here. I love the VR. I've only been into it for the last like 6 weeks, and I've just been blown away. It's such an amazing experience. I would never have expected things to be able to, experience sort of sensations like that. It's just crazy, like the Tetris effect. I haven't really been going into too many games at once. I've sort of been playing one sort of game, sort of specifically that. But yeah, so instead of Alive, these are my DVDs down here, some of my Blu-rays. You can see that I love to collect boxed editions, you know, Star Wars, Matrix, Fast and the Furious, all great runs. Game of Thrones, and then up there you can see some of them like Sons of Anarchy, Transformers, Boardwalk Empire. Yeah, there's just normal DVD collector's editions there. But yeah, there's a stack more behind that too. Okay, and then there's another cabinet over here. On top of it, it's got my Royal Selangor Iron Man statue, Ultron. As soon as I saw that, I had to get it. I just couldn't get it out of my mind, and I just bought it as a very expensive figure. But you know what? Yeah. And the Dawn one on the left, it was supposed to go into my Dawn display here, but it was like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters too high. Anyway, it is what it is. Here is my Dawn. I got a few cards. I swap out the CGCs too for different Dawn books that I've got graded. And then below that is my Milo Manara section here. It's got his statue there, and also at the back you can sort of see his famous art for the Spider-Woman #1. Sorry, the glare, I'm trying to get a good spot here. Spider-Woman #1, that's a 1 in 50 variant. It's signed by him as well. You can sort of see the signature there. One of his controversial, most known. I love that book, so I'm happy to have that one. And also there's a little PVC statue on the left. I want to get some more of those. They cost a lot of money. You can't get them in Australia, so they've got to come from Europe, so it's like $40 just for the freight, and the figure's only like 15 or 12, whatever. Then below that is some more Game & Watch games. The oil panic at the back on the right is pretty much mint. You know, everything. It's an actual perfect example of that game. It's got the batteries in it. I bought that in a drunk eBay buy like 9 years ago, so I was very lucky that I did, because sometimes I get post-purchase panic attacks like, oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah, with that, there's a few other games I've picked up over the years, like Helmet, Donkey Kong Junior Panorama, a few books up there as well. Goes through the history and yeah, the rarities and all that kind of stuff. Very good. And then just a few more little mini arcade and other gamey sort of stuff at the bottom. Just my arcade ones, Elevator Action and Bubble Bobble. I want to get Contra and I want to get Rolling Thunder as well. So they're on the list. And then you can see the 2 anniversaries of Zelda and Super Mario Brothers there with the X-Men Tiger Electronics at the back, and a tiny pole position on the left, which is trying to play that's a challenge. Anyway, very cool. Okay, we're going to head into this other room up here, and this is pretty much where we are relaxing room. We like to sit and have a cup of tea. It has a lot of art on the wall. My wife wants it to be female centric, which is fine with me, as you know, you can tell I'm a big fan of the females. And yeah, we've got some weird tales there, some Pulp Market Brundage from the 30s, beautiful artist. I just newly discovered her, and her art is just incredible. I've got Wonder Woman on the left, which is an art reproduction from an artist in South Africa that I got in contact with. I've got a whole bunch, and you'll probably see a few in the other room there as well. And I saw Jessica Rabbit on Wish, this picture, and I showed my wife and she loved it, so she bought it and she got it framed, so talk about help. And then below that we've got a actual Jessica Rabbit little statue there, just to sort of, you know, I just love that movie, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Up there we've got another Linsner, that's one of the classic images of Dawn, that's the 3rd print of #1 cover. I've got a print from Andy Granoff, signed on the bottom right, Vision of the Scarlet Witch. I just love that. It looks great in that frame. And also there's a Bruce Timm piece there. I love it. It's an original piece. I pay a lot of money for it, but anyway, sometimes I just get into that sort of zone where I'm like, I have to have it, and that's it there. And another one, excuse me, next to it is Alfonso Espiri. That's an original piece by him. I love the way he draws as well. And then finally on the right hand side, we've got a fan-made reproduction by that same artist from South Africa. And as you can probably hear below me, I've got my 2 cabinets. I would never have believed if you told me when I was younger that I'd had arcade cabinets in my house, and I still can't believe it. I'm so lucky. And we're very fortunate as collectors to have these things available. You know, as a big Street Fighter fan and player over the years, you know, having one in my house is just so good. I just love sitting here in the afternoons and playing some Street Fighter. And not only that, it has other great games such as Ghosts and Goblins, 1944, you know, Strider, Final Fight, just games that I grew up playing. So for me, it's just an absolute gift, you know, so thanks everyone for that one. And next to it's the MVS-X. As soon as I saw this, I'm like, wow. When we were kids growing up, we used to go into Sydney and go to Time Zone and Galaxy World, and you see the Neo Geo games, and they were so fast and they were so, you know, just so loud. It was just such a different experience in the gaming. And yeah, so to have 50 of them sitting there, King of Fighters, yeah, Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury, there's just so many different types, and even a little selection of sport games too, which sort of gives a little bit of a little bit of variety as well. So I'm very happy to have those. New lounge we got recently, as I said, have a cup of tea and sit here. The old MVS box sits over there as a table and some storage. Okay, there's a couple of small little prints art up here. I've got a Danger Girl by Natalie Sanders, got off her site. It's signed and numbered down here. And behind me over here, I've got a Grogu piece as well. My wife's a big Grogu lover, and that's him sitting there. That's signed. It's a print signed by the artist. You can sort of see it there, so it's good. And then finally on this side, we've got a nice picture of death there as well. Yep. I thought I don't want to miss this part here. I just don't want to miss it. But one of my favourite things is my Ready Player One. Whoops. Coin. So yeah, which sort of comes back to this picture here, which is sort of inspired by Ready Player One. And yeah, when he plays that game and gets the extra life coin, to me that was just a magical moment, especially at the end when they used the Sixers used the bomb or the device and he was just left there with his extra life. It was great. All right, we're going to go into another room now, so I will see you in a minute. Right, we're under the stairs here now. This is where I've got a lot of my graded books. So these are all my CGC books there. There's a few more behind there you can see. There's some Australian superhero magazines on the right hand side, like DC stuff. A bit of horror there as well, like Rue Morgue and some Horror Hound and some other random horror magazines. And under there I've got my Amiga and Commodore 64 stuff there as well. There's some trades and that behind there, and there's some Star Wars inside of magazines there as well. More comics, as you can see here. Another PC. I've had my 5 1/4 drive in that one, and I had it all set up with that and something. Anyway, Juju messed it up. So anyway, my trading cards. These are all my horror magazines, Australian horror magazines. These are all grey downs. These two here, I love to collect them, and you can sort of see they're just really, really just bizarre sort of books, covers. I love the art, the title art and stuff like that. And you can see there's another one there, Forces of Evil, just beautiful. Yeah, I love the art. I'm trying to find them in good condition if I can. They're hard, they're expensive too. So I've got a few haunting images there. Great. And then on this side over here, there's a few more like other horror magazines like Yaffa's, Murray's, and some other sort of science fiction. And I also love to collect collect pulp magazines. So they're really hard to get in Australia. So I've been picking them up here and there. And yeah, they're just, to me, this the smell, the age, I just love it. It's just, it's got so much history about what writers would interpret as, science fiction in the future. So reading some of these, it's just so funny, just to see, wow. And I just love the art. Luckily, a lot of the books I got had really fantastic covers. They weren't in too bad. They presented well too. So fantastic adventures. There's some amazing stories in here as well. And what else we got behind here? Another amazing stories there. And then, let's see if I can find another. There's another fantastic story. And I also have some westerns back here as well. I've got luckily to get a nice lot from America for quite cheap. I think I've got like 14 books. So there's a nice little. And one thing about pulps is that the condition and the presentation of the spine is important. So these all present really well, as you can see. Some of them even go back to like, I think it was like 1942 and stuff that I got. So lucky. All right, so that's that room there. This is a bit of a work in progress. I want to paint the wall black. I've got to put a new PowerPoint down there to get some LEDs in here and some lighting and some pictures. So yeah, we'll spruce it up a bit. And out in this room here, this is the main sort of theatre room. This is where we watch all our movies at night. I've got some blankets up today because to sort of stop the light coming, as you can't really see too much. But here I've got my PS4 and my Xbox 360 set up. And one of my favourite games of all time, Another World. And as I said before about pinching yourself, like who would have ever thought when you got older that I could sit on a beanbag and play Another World on a massive screen, you know what I mean? It's incredible, I still can't believe that these things are available for us these days. So yeah, Another World, this is where I played a lot of all my Battlefront 2 out here. I used to love playing Heroes vs Villains. Yeah, it was the first game I ever played on the PS4. I'd never played a game on the PS4. So from going from the PC to the PS4 was quite a challenge. So in the end, it was, yeah, I had a lot of fun. One of the better games I played was Battlefront 2. And finally, just a quick quick show of these Royal Selangor Lord of the Rings collectors items over here, just plates and mugs, as you can see. Yeah, well, I've been buying those for the last few years, so awesome stuff. All right, that's that room here. Now we're going to go upstairs and we're going to finish the tour. And this is the room upstairs. This is where I have all my consoles. And I've got a bit more, this is more music art up here. You can sort of see a few singles and albums up there. And down here I've got my consoles. It's just funny how things evolve. It was never really a plan, and all of a sudden they just sort of come together, and this is where we are today. That's how things work, I guess. On the left hand side here you can see the pride in my collection. One of the things I love as well is my Panasonic Q. The first time I saw this, it was on the RMC Cave channel. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I bought one, and it was good. If you know if you've bought one, you know that they're expensive. But yeah, as you said, you get things in your mind. I can't shake it, and I got to have it. So there's that. And now at the moment we've got Zelda going, and I got still actively collecting for the system. As you can see down here, I've got a little bit of a mix of games. There's a couple down the back there as well, and I've got a couple of sealed ones in there. And my Wavebird come with it. That's my only GameCube game on the left, and then my original Dreamcast, my brother's PS2, a Super Nintendo I got like 3 or 4 years ago, just because it looked cool before I even had all this set up. My original N64, my original PS1, and I've got this recently a Mega Drive, so I haven't got too many games for that, but I'm enjoying what I do have at the moment. And then just obviously everyone's got chords. Here's my American Standard graffiti yellow Strat, beautiful guitar, and next to it is Frostmourne. You know, if you're into Warcraft, you know what Frostmourne is in Arthas. There's my VHS machine. Me and my wife sit up here sometimes in beanbag, have a cocktail and watch some VHS just for a bit of fun, something different. And we watched Death Hunt recently. And I got this off my parents recently. This is for the Xbox 360, the Rock Band setup, so sweet as. And then behind me, this is a few games and up here as well. So I've got some more VHSs and movies there. Below it, I've got my N64 games. I bought those when they come out. I haven't bought an N64 game in like 20 years. So that's that, and my Lord of the Rings on the left. More Game & Watches you can see there. My PS2 library there. Got a few for that. I'm having trouble with the PS2. It just says it won't detect the controller. I can't get past certain screens. Anyway, I've got to figure it out. And then below that's my small Super Nintendo game collection. More Game & Watches, and this is just a recent pickups I got when I was in Brisbane, so I want to do a pickup video as I said downstairs before. And there's a few VHSs I got for $1 each, so just a bit of fun. And then below that is more books, all my Warhammer books which I'll do to read, some music DVDs, more CDs there. I've got heaps to see, I've got heaps more in storage as well. And that's my Wii games there, my PS1 and my small Dreamcast library, as I pretty much just exclusively played Sega Rally. That's what I used to do. And then in this cupboard here, I have a few odds and ends. There's a little tabletop game there, an old one. I've got my old phones up there, my Walkman mini disc players, my old Bose systems are in here. I've got a double tape deck Yamaha there, my cameras, some records. You can sort of see some old phones and iPods down there again. My little racing car set that I've had on the side that I carried it around with me everywhere. And then, yeah, just some boxes up the top there. And on the right hand side here is another little bit of a stash of items. Just all my bags for all my comic books, all the different sizes, boards, halfbacks, milers, whatever. My surfing VHS collection there. And down here we've got a boxed Wii. I've got a Facebook Marketplace like $50 with a heap of games, so I just keep that in there now. PS1, these are all my White Dwarfs there. A few extra other odds and ends, toys, my racing cars, my Wii accessories down there, some mini discs, and just other odds and ends. That's the 10-year anniversary box. You had to be subscribed for Warcraft for 10 years straight to get that. And yeah, it was just delivered on my door one day. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So a lot of the envy of a lot of people. All right, well, that's this room as we finish it up here, and I'll take it downstairs and we'll conclude the video. And yeah, thank you. Well, that's the tour, and I hope you really liked it. Thanks for joining today. If you could like, comment and subscribe, as everyone says, it obviously helps me. It gives me inspiration and the motivation to do more videos for everybody. And yeah, it's just a good community to be a part of. And yeah, I like all your videos too, so I'll be watching yours. So thanks very much again. And until next time, take it easy.